Hi and good morning and welcome back to the Great International Craft Show 23. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Teresa Brown. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator and have been for going on 19 years. Today we've got another riddle, or if you've been following my Facebook page, you'll see that I've put up a riddle for day 2, and it's what's in the box. So you've got to break the code. So let me share with you how I've made this box. So let's come down to my workbench. Sorry about my hand for a minute. Okay, so the measurements to this box is the base. This is the base, and I'm using one of our beautiful new in colours, and it's the cloud cover. It's really soft blue. It's really pretty, and it goes really well with our designer series paper as well. And the measurements to this one is 11 3/4. So 11 3/4 by 7.5. So this would be 7.5 here, going this way. So 7.5, which is about 19.2 centimeters. So we need to trim that off, and I'm going to turn it around, and we're going to cut it at 11 3/4, which is here, which is 29.9 centimeters. 11 3/4. So line that up on your paper trimmer, which is probably the width of the A4 cardstock, so you don't need to trim anything off that. So that's really good. You just need to trim it at the 7.5 inches or 19.2 centimeters, I think it was. Okay, so now we're going to do some scoring on here. Now you can score with your paper trimmer, but also we have our beautiful scoreboard. Who's got one of our scoreboards? These are amazing. I love this scoreboard. I really do. I think it's really lovely. So we're going to grab this little score tool comes in with the scoreboard, which sits down the bottom here, which is really lovely. You do get some little clips to put in the top, but I can't find mine today, so that's okay. So we're going to score it at 5/8. So 5/8 is you're going to count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 5/8 because these are all at 8ths, and we're going to cut it at score it at 5/8. So we're going to score it at 5/8, and then we're going to score it at 2 1/8. So it's 2 and one little notch past the 2. And we're going to do this on all 4 sides. So we're going to come back and do the 1/8, which is just the 5/8, I mean. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's just the one past the half is 5/8. And then we're going to also score it at 2 1/8. So we're going to do that again. So 5/8, and then again at 2 1/8, and one more time. Okay, so 5/8, and then 2 1/8. Make sure your paper is really up against the top for your score to work. Okay, so that is the base of our box. So you've got all your score lines in there. I don't know if you can see them, but you've got them all in there. But I have gone and pre-done a little bit. So we're going to cut out, I'm going to pop this on here. So you can sort of see we're going to cut out this little score part and this little score part. So we're going to cut across here, here, and cut down here. And the same on this side, we're going to cut down this one, so up to the second score line, cut up to the second score line, and then you're going to cut a little V, a little bit off there. Okay, so the same all the way around. So I'm just going to cut this one for you so you can sort of see what we're going to do, or what I've been doing. So we're going to cut down to our second score line and cut down to our second score line, and then on this bit here on the little tab we're just going to come in on a little V. Okay, so now we've got 4 tabs for our bottom of our box. I've already put the tear tape on, so you can sort of see the tear tape goes on the 5/8 piece. Okay, and this is going to be pulled off and then brought up like that. But first we're going to use our bone folder and we're going to score across here. I'm going to make sure that all the scores are nicely scored in. Oh, and I forgot to cut this little bit off here. We need to trim this little bit off on this side. We don't need to do much of an angle on this side, but we do need to cut a bit of an angle on the inner side. Okay, so we're going to cut that little bit out there. So you can sort of see you've got a little bit of a V on each side there. Okay, so all folded in nicely. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to pull that down like that. We're going to take our tear tape off on here and fold that down like that. It gives the edge of a box a really little bit more secure edging, which is really lovely. I mean, you can cut it right off here and have that as the edge, but I like to tuck my edges under just that little bit so that you get a nice edge on that box. You get a nice fold which holds it really lovely. So these are going to come in like this. So I'm going to put tear tape on these. So I'm going to turn it around this way. Now with your tear tape, I like to keep my tear tape in my plastic bag when I'm not using it, because it stops it from getting anything sticking to the edge here, so it's always nice and clean. So that's just my preference. So I'm going to put a bit of tear tape there. Probably don't need that long. That's better. And some there. And I'm just going to put a third piece on this just to make sure that it doesn't have to be a big piece, just to make sure that it's all on there. So you need to do that on all 4 sides. So let's do that. You can use your liquid glue if you want to. If you don't want your box, if you want to make sure that your box is not sticky, it's probably easier to do it with your tear tape. You can go across this way too if you want to. So if you want to do it that way, you can. It's entirely up to you how you want to put your tear tape onto your bits. Doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong way. Okay, some people like to use the fast fuse. Or our seal, our seal or seal plus. Some people like to use the Tombow glue, which is our liquid glue. So it's really up to you which way you want to do it. I'm actually using the tear tape today so that you can actually see where I'm actually putting the glue. so that you can actually see it. And you can always screenshot or save the photo, pause it and save the photo if you're not too sure. Down here, and just an extra piece on. Okay, so once you've got your tear tape on, you want to go through with your bone folder and just make sure that that's stuck down nice and tight, because it makes it easier to get the ends off those white bits off the double-sided tape, which tear tape is double-sided. Okay, now you've got two choices with this. You can stick this bit down afterwards, which I normally do, but I just wanted to stick it down so you can sort of see where all these pieces are going. Okay, so, and there's no right or wrong way of doing this, but I'm going to bring that up to the corner. And like I said, you can bring this piece in over the top of these ones as well, which is quite what I do quite often to give it a nice edging. But I just want to show you where these pieces actually go. So, okay, so this one goes on here. And then you can turn this 5/8 of a piece over if you want to. If you don't want to see these tabs on the inside up the top here, you can turn it over then. But at least you can see where they actually fit. And why you need to cut that little V is because if you do turn this 5/8 over and this is up the top, it could come above and then it won't fold over properly. So you do need those little V's in it. Okay. I'm just going to take the tape off this one as well. Just taking the tape off there. Here. Now this is quite tacky and doesn't really give you much room to move if you do it wrong. So try to get it right the first time when you're lining them up. Okay, so now you've got that nice base of the box. So with the top, we'll do it the other way. We'll glue it the other way, so you can sort of see the difference that can happen. Sorry, I'm just getting rid of all my rubbish. Okay, so I'm using the Designer Series paper this time. Absolutely beautiful for the base and for the lid, I mean. And it comes from the beautiful pack. It comes from this one here, the Peaceful Garden 12x12. Has lots of different papers in here. Absolutely gorgeous papers. So you can sort of see you've got either side. So you've got ladies and men's that you can use for the other side as well, which is absolutely beautiful. Doves, absolutely gorgeous. Beautiful paper. So you can have a look through the catalogue or the book. Now this one is measured, let me just turn my template around. You're going to measure this. I'm going to do it up here on the inches first. So this is 11 7/8, which is 5, 6, 7. So it's 2 past the 11.5 inches. And then this side, I'm just going to bring that down so I can measure it that way, is 7 5/8. So you need to count 7 5/8. Now, once again, we've done our scoring. Our scoring is done differently. It's 1/2 inch all the way around. Okay, so 1/2 inch first, 1/2 inch, and then 2 inches. So 1/2 inch is your fold in, and 2 inches is your fold over for your lid. Okay, and then you cut your corners exactly the same. So I'm just going to cut this one down here. Very hard to see on some papers, the score line, but if you're not too sure, just hold it up slightly and you can see the score line. It's easier to see on this side than the other side. So I'm going to come across this one here. And then you're going to cut down to your second score line. No, you're not. You're just going to cut that one off. Sorry, I nearly cut the whole lot. Cut that little bit off. And then you're going to cut that little V at the top of this one. And you need to cut this little bit off over this side on the flap. And then your little V on the inside. Okay, and the same with this side here. Cut this little bit off. So you've got your flaps, or your tabs, whatever you want to call them, and a little bit there. So these are going to go in. So we've marked all these, and I've done a little bit because of time-wise. Time gets away really fast from us when we're trying to only have half an hour. So, and I want you to get the gist of it all. So we're going to put that on there, and then a little bit on there, and the same on those two sides that I've already done. Just to save a little bit of time. Okay, this designer series paper is just absolutely beautiful. Now I just ripped that a bit way too short. And I'm just going to cut a little bit off here. Okay, that'll do. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, I'm going to use glue this time. I'm going to use the Tombow glue, just so that you can sort of see that you can use the Tombow glue for the lid. So I'm just going to bring these little tabs in. Now I haven't sealed this down. Now you can do the bottom of the box exactly the same as this way as well if you want to. So I just wanted to show you two alternatives. So we're going to come up here. We're going to line this up. Now you've got to give yourself a little bit of time for this to stick. And then bring this side up. And just line them up at the corners. Make sure that they're lined up at the corners here. Okay, now we're going to do this side of the box as well. You don't want to go too close to the edge because you don't want your glue coming out onto your project where it's going to make it very sticky. Okay, so bring these up. Make sure you line your sides up. The good thing about the glue is that you can slide it around a little bit more than you can with your tear tape. Your tear tape, once it's down, it's down. Okay, so now we're going to take our, just make sure, turn it over, get your bone folder and give it a really good press down here to make sure that the glue's really stuck it down. So make sure it's all stuck down. Then take your backing off your tape and come down over the top. So you can sort of see it will give you a nicer edge around the box, which I would probably do it for the base as well. But I just wanted to share with you why you had to cut those V's, because it's very important to cut those V's where I explained, so that you can sort of turn this down and it's not going to stick up over the top, because that can happen and then it puts your whole box out of alignment. So no one's going to see the inside of the box much. So I thought I like the lid to be nice. Okay, so that's our lid, so that fits over here. Now, what was inside this box? I've got to share with you when you have friends that do crafting, quite often you want to buy them something that's really lovely, and the Stampin' in colours are a great pen to buy for a gift, and sometimes you'd like to put some chockies in there as well, and this makes a really great box. I'm going to take them out or I'm going to be looking for them later. So you can put your gifts in there, and it sits on really lovely, this little box sits on. Now we can make a belly band with this one as well. So with the belly band, you can come in with your designer series paper. You can come in with this over the top if you want to. So you've got a blue strip, or you can also come in with a trimmed off piece of cardstock. Let me just grab the cardstock. And I would do the cardstock normally about 3 centimetres in width to make my belly band, and then 2.5 for my designer series paper, because I like 2.5. So you can line it up on your right hand side of your paper trimmer and make sure that you've got it lined up at 2.5 at the top and the bottom, and then you can trim that little bit off. Great. Now we can glue this onto our belly band, and I'm going to keep that little bit, or keep those little bits, because you can always put some words on them. So I'm going to stick this to here, then it's got a little border around it on each side, long side I should say, not on each side, but on each long side. Like I said, don't get too close to your edge, because then when you go to press it down with your bone folder, the glue spreads and it will sneak or seep out, and you don't want it to seep out. Okay, so give this a nice mark, and then when you put this belly band around here, you will see that it will go. So what I like to do is hold this in the middle of my box down the bottom here, or just not quite the middle, it's just a bit over, and then I like to come and pinch, bring it up and pinch, bring it across and pinch, and bring it under and pinch, and then that way you can glue it. And it's really good to pinch it as you go. It gives it a bit of a fold. I'm just going to cut this off because it was a bit longer. Okay, so now we're just going to add some glue, and I'm just adding it to the designer series part, not to the cardstock part, because when I press down on it, it spreads, and we don't want it to spread out. So I'm going to just bring this up, grab my bone folder, and that will spread your glue for you. So now we've got our belly band that goes around it, which is really, really lovely. Now words, how do we work out words? Now look, there's so many different things that you can use on here. You can punch things out, you can use your I'm going to grab, where did I put them? Over here. So I've got the Remembrance This Moment Memory and More cards, and these are gorgeous because they've got little words on them. Remember this moment, which is absolutely gorgeous, and then it's got memories are everything, and then it's got, which I used on These are really great, these little ones to use on your memory more scrapbooking, to make cards, or to put it on boxes, which are really beautiful. This one's going up, so if you wanted it that way, you would have to turn your box around that way, so that it's sort of, if you wanted to put something like that on it, your box would go that way. Okay, but if you wanted your box this way, then you'd have to find one that sort of suited that way. And these are quite cute, they really are. And then you've got your, I'll just show you these because they really are cute. You've got the big ones as well. So when we have each other, we have everything. Now that's really beautiful. When we have each other, we have everything, and that's really lovely. I really like that. And then you've got Oh Happy Days, and you could cut out that Oh Happy Days. You get lots of these in your kit. So, and you can still put a photo over the base of that if you want to. So I'm going to use the Oh Happy Day on this one, and I'm going to cut it. And I'm going to use my knife on my pick tool. Now the pick tool has lots of different sections on it. So you have, you can buy the blades to go with it. You've got your piercing tool, you've got a little spatula, you've got your little brush for your die cuts extras. So you've got lots of little extras too, but they all slip into here. You've got your putty as well that you can put in, which is really good. You can cut on your glass mat. Now I don't know how I'm going to go with my hand, but let's see. Okay, I'm just going to cut straight down on here. Doesn't matter if I go past a little bit. And down here. And now the good thing about this is that I'm taking this out, I can still use this section for a photo to go over it because no one's going to see it. And if you put a photo over it and you keep this little banner in it, then you lose the banner. So check your memory more cards out because there's so much you can do with them. I'm just going to cut this bit out. Okay, very nicely done. So pop the lid back on there. Now you can still add a photo over the top of this if you're using it in your Creative and Memory More album, which is really, they're really beautiful. So, okay, I'm just going to straighten this up just a fraction on the side because I just cut it a little bit crooked. And the good thing about this is you can write the person's name on it, or if it's for a teacher, you can write the teacher or your friend. You can write a little message on this as well. So you can have it there, or you can have it along here, going Oh Happy Days here, that way, or you can have it going this way. It just depends how you want to have it. I'm going to have it lined up like that. So I'm just going to put a couple of dimensions on here. I can find where I pop my dimensions over here. Oh, here they are. So the middle, just put a dimension towards the middle. One there and one there, and take these off. And then add this, and I'm just lining that little blue line Oh Happy Days up with the edge of the blue, or the new in colour. And then you've got your beautiful box that you can put your gift in for your friend or a school teacher. So I hope you're enjoying what's in the box, because you can put so much in your boxes, and the Designer Series paper is so beautiful, and there's so many different boxes. So thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to jump over to my Facebook page at Teresa Brown Stamping, and also you can always shop with me at teresabrownstamping.stampinup.net. So God bless you all, and thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed the rest of today. at the Great International Craft Show 23. Bye for now.